What's up, everybody? Danny Green here. I was just coming to let you know that, explain a little bit of the date line and how I calculated it, and give some more credit to Stefan Burns. Like, he's making the connections that I've been trying to outline. I really appreciate that. I really, appreciate any help I can get, and I'm glad that he's seeing the same thing I'm seeing. The only difference is he's seeing it through, it's a geo something model. I'm saying look at it through a heliocentric model. And you will see that the February 20th date he's talking about is actually when you can visually see it in the sky compared to when the effect actually happens, the magnetic coupling effect, which you can tell through the heliocentric, is when the peak will happen, and it will be on the 16th of February 2026. That's basically like your precursor event, and it's all caused from this higher frequency, like hitting the sun, the earth, and the moon are all like tuning forks, basically. So they're all resonating at this higher frequency that Betelgeuse is emitting in the middle of its evolution to a 8-pointed star. Right now it's a 6-pointed star. The prime numbers is what makes it evolve. Since it goes up again above that frequency in the 7, that means once it gets past that, it can't fall back to the 6-pointed star. So therefore, the only way to move in symmetry, sacred geometry, and everything is forward and evolutionize. And basically, is what's happening is how any 6-pointed star has a north pole and a south pole, just like our star. When it shifts to a 8-pointed star, a white dwarf star, it potentially just gains an extra north pole and an extra south pole. So instead of having one, it'd have 2 north poles and it'd have 2 south poles, which will explain the high density of energy. And it also shifts from the hexagon holding the most electromagnetic energy to a octagon holding the most electromagnetic energy. And since we're talking about the hexagons, I want to point out the fact that the Great Circle is also, when you overlay my model right here, this green one behind me, overlay that with the globe. When you're looking at the Great Circle, where all the ancient sites, structures, and stuff are lined up, you'll see that circle. You'll also be able to tell that that is right where Saturn orbits, the hexagon, which is why hexagon shape is on Saturn's north pole, is because it orbits at that resonance shell, and it's where the most electromagnetic energy can gather before it starts to dissipate, right? And since I'm talking about that, I also want to bring up my Hurricane Aaron intensification confirmed predictions. The second one on the 20th of August 2025, when I predicted the rapid intensification for the 23rd and 24th of August 2025. August 20th, when I made those predictions, I also made the prediction of the dissipation, the decay of the storm. And I said it would dissipate between August 28th to August 30th, 2025. And that's also another prediction I hit and confirmed. I just haven't threw it in there. I hadn't really paid that much attention to it, but looking over the details, I guess that's actually a major part and a hard part for them to predict what's going on as well. Let me see. Trying not to be like a robot here. I'm trying to be myself and still give you a lot of information that ties everything together as well. Like the high frequency coming from Betelgeuse right now, the sensors and seismic activity, all of that ties into that. That's not tectonic plates shifting. as much as that is a node, that is a cavity. The electromagnetic cavity is like the moon when we hit it with the satellite and it rang like a bell. Well, if the Earth got hit that hard, it would do the same thing, right? And that's why the sun is also like a tuning fork. All three of them are to Betelgeuse. And then if you look at Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation, you will also see the other stars around it are really bright. That's because all of them are like a tuning fork effect going on. They're all ringing at that higher frequency. And whenever I say the 22,000 hertz, that is just a safe point in my model. The D.M.A., the dual magnetic amplification zones, actually say it's probably going to be higher, but I like to play it on the safe side, and I'd like to say that that's it. And the prime numbers pretty much say that it's probably going to be 23,000 hertz, just because it has to lock into a higher frequency because of the prime numbers. The prime numbers you can track through pretty much everything. They are the scaffold basically for all of creation, is prime number resonant shells. And these could also help with MRI machines. It helps with everything. Like as I pointed out in my model, and you can see right here on this red one, which is not accurate on the distance, by the way, but it is accurate as far as labeling the shells and the D.M.A. zone and the boundary. The green one, it shows the distance in 0.5 centimeters, I think, and then that one up there shows it in the centimeters scale. 1 AU equals 1 centimeter right here, and then 0.5 centimeters equal 1 AU in the green one. So that's the actual correct distancing that you can measure and map it. And sorry about that, Ninja needed some attention. If you didn't hear him holler, he's blind and he just runs in everything, and I'm trying to record, I tried to watch out for my buddy, but shit happens, you know what I mean? This right here I showed you, I'm showing you in this video where it matches up with the wood grain, and I've shown you before. But if you count the shells in the wood grain from the center circle out to this little gap light right here, you'll be able to count 19 shells. Alright, that's 19 resonant shells. Why that's significant is because your trees read these sine waves and they record them. So it's literally recording the magnetic shells through the sine waves, which the sun emits a sine wave. It goes through, right, and then it gets reflected off Neptune, and that's what causes the standing wave. That's what causes levitation. This isn't just a new theory. Like, they know this. Like, they know that a standing wave causes levitation. All the ancient sites where they have reptiles and stuff is a sine wave. That's representing a sine wave in ancient terms. The vultures and birds are representing the standing wave because of flights, levitation, right? Okay. And then the Aztec temple. The dragon coming down the staircase has the 7 humps, which means the 7 planets. You don't count Neptune because it is the boundary, just like you don't count the source, the sun. Right? And then, let me see. The joint point right there in the middle is the D.M.A. zone. That's where the outgoing waves crash with the incoming waves, and where the 2 magnetic bubbles stack, causing the amplified effect, the dual magnetic amplification zone. And that is a 3.3. You take Mars's distance, right, which is, was it 1.52 AU times 3.3, you're going to get relatively close to Jupiter's distance. Then you will take Jupiter's distance times 2 and you'll get relatively close to Saturn's distance. Take Saturn's distance times 2 and you'll get relatively close to Uranus's distance. This explains the asteroid belt where planets can't form because it's a static zone. It's where two of them stack. The static from that actually strips away the atmosphere and magnetic field from Mars. Let me see, that also explains the amplification, so that explains the distance and why the outer planets are so much bigger and so much further apart than the inner planets, which are stable. They're not amplified or more stable. They got more stable orbits, right? This is all depicted in ancient terms with the keyholes around the world. The ancient keyhole structures, if you pay attention, they're all aligned to the magnetic poles. North Pole, South Pole, depending on what region you're in. The seashells that I have laid up right here is the perfect geometric spacing. And then, let me see what else you got. Oh, right back here. This is a good example right here of the harmonic system. It shows the actual sound waves that go up, and the prime numbers. Why they sit on prime numbers is because prime numbers is indivisible. That's why they can actually form on those nodes, right, in those resonant shells. Now that's not all odd numbers, that's all prime numbers. It's prime nodes basically, and then 1 is not a prime number. Okay, 2 is your first and only even prime number. And then it's 3, 5, which is Earth, Mars is 7, and then it goes to Jupiter, which is 11, Saturn, which is 13, Uranus, which is 17. That is your 7 days of creation. That is where your dragon's going down the Aztec temple. It shows the 7 humps. It shows the 7 planets. And it's on the equinox or the sun solstice. It shows the reflection, shadow that comes down it. It shows the Neptune effect, the standing wave. And if you pay attention, it's not just a dragon, which I didn't catch at first, because the dragon would have been a reptile, so that represents the sine wave. But I actually made a connection the other day where it's the feathered serpent. So it's actually a bird and a reptile, which basically shows my whole model on the ancient structure right there. Okay. So this would probably be a good time for me to introduce or reintroduce the prime number resonance hypothesis, my PNRH. And that's the prime numbers are where the building scaffolds, basically, where planets can form, and it is as above, so below. So it goes from the macro to the micro. So from quantum to cosmic, it all shows the same thing, right? They all follow the same pattern, and that's why the MRI machine, which is literally the magnetic resonance imagery, and my core purpose here and my whole, part of my foundation for the magnetic reverberation theory is the resonance, which is technically the harmonics, the vibrations. Your harmonics had to come first. You had to have a vibration first. That's where they're getting things twisted. They think that electromagnetism comes first. No, that is actually a secondary effect. That's what comes after the first vibration. You have to have the first vibration to make the first wave, which makes the standing wave. Once it makes the standing wave, that's where your electromagnetic effects come in. That's where the flux comes in. Eternal 8. Like that. That's your flux. And you can see it down here. I map it right here. And it has the numbers that follows it around. That shows the star's lattice, which I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but as far as they say, I'm the first person to measure the star's lattice. And the point in it is to make you aware of the frequency that's coming in, and to have you align with the 3 laws that I lay out, which is love, the impulse to carry out any action. Truth is to carry out that action with integrity. And then coherence is to live and accept the balance between the two. So pretty much just accept it for what it is, the truth and the love. and that you carried out that action. You have to live with the truth of it. Much love, everybody. Yet again, Danny Green, NinjaNsite, not AI, YouTube, Google. And I understand it goes against current standard models, but that does not mean it's wrong. Okay? Much love, everybody. Stay safe. NinjaNsite. Good night.